Well, it's just about here, Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference, which begins on Monday. So fans are eager to find out what the tech giant will announce this time around. And Lord knows with Apple, there's always a lot to discuss. So joining us now to preview this conference is Kevin Nabapur, Senior VP of Content Strategies at Allison & Partners. Kevin, great to speak with you today.
Great to be here.
And in the house, no less.
Yes, I love it here.
So there's lots of reports out there, lots of speculation about what exactly Apple's going to bring to the table at its developers conference. We do know there's going to be a lot of software.
Yep.
What is the biggest thing you're looking for?
Well, I'm most excited about Apple Music. I'm trying to figure out when is the moment they're going to unveil publicly the relationship and the partnership with Beats. So I think in this time you're going to actually see, with iTunes sales declining a little bit, Apple's doubling down on streaming and figuring out how they're going to unveil the partnership and how they're going to integrate between the current iTunes experience, the playlist people have put together, the music they've purchased, and then the streaming component that comes with Beats, along with just a more slimmed down package that consumers can now buy on a regular basis, on a monthly basis, so that they can start competing with Spotify and those other companies out there.
So music, Beats, the streaming service, likely on the agenda. One thing that we're getting reports is probably not going to be on the agenda is the new Apple TV, both the new set-top box and the much ballyhooed, much anticipated, much rumored actual television service. Where do you stand on that?
Well, I'm interested to see what they're going to do when they talk about it, because it could be within the context of their HomeKit framework. Which might be interesting to sort of see how the connected home works and how Apple TV integrates with that. But I think they're going to touch on it probably a little bit because there's just so much interest in what's happening. And whether they get into details around which partners are going to be part of a slimmed down package, what it's going to look like. Everyone knows that Apple's going after the 10 million folks out there that have broadband access but don't pay for television services. A lot of companies are doing this. So I think Apple, even though they don't have a set-top box to reveal, they're probably going to talk about it at least on a somewhat minimum basis, and at least within the context of the HomeKit service, because it's something that is on their radar. They want to be a dominant player in the television space, and they know that the services from a streaming standpoint are what consumers are actually looking at. And they have the vision for it. I think they're just sort of slow to get there because certain elements haven't come in place just yet.
And of course, we've got the Apple Watch that was released in April. A lot of expectation around helping developers to develop apps around that. What is your take on that? What is your take on the possibility of a new iOS update? Yeah,
I think for Watch OS, I think you're going to see some sort of conversation around it because I think sales have been, depending on who you ask, sales have been good or sales have been like just okay. But I think the functionality of the watch and the apps that are performing on the watch, there's still a lot to be figured out there to make sure the experience is at a high quality and what consumers are expected to get from Apple, especially at a price point that the watch is coming in at. So I think you're going to start seeing some news around advancements within the Watch OS, and that's going to be likely to be revealed here. I'm also interested to see what they're going to do with Siri. I mean, if Siri is going to be part of a component not just elevated with the watch, but also with TV, and maybe that's how they get into the TV conversation and talk about how Siri gets integrated there. So I think there's a lot of news to come between their most recent announcements like Watch, but also how their legacy features start to get integrated in a more cohesive way.
And we haven't even touched on Maps, because that's another thing that I've been hearing about.
Maps is funny because no one really needs Maps from Apple. I think the first time it came out, there was so much so much criticism and negative reviews around how it didn't work, how it took you in the wrong places, and I think ultimately people started questioning why is Apple trying to try to get in this space, because they're in perpetual catch-up mode. But they're going to be probably talking a little bit about their transit addition to it. I don't expect it to get a lot of stage time just because in the context of everything else, it's probably something small, and again, it's something that I don't think there's a pent-up consumer demand for at this stage.
Well, Kevin Nabapur, thanks for joining us, and thanks for joining us in the studio. Thank you for watching. I'm Morgan Brennan. Have a great day.
Hey YouTube fans, I'm Landon Downey from CNBC. Thanks so much for checking out our channel. Here you'll find videos packed with all the info that you need to be smarter about your finances. Be sure and subscribe by clicking right here, and click on all the videos around me to see CNBC's original series Young Money, Tech Bet, Kramer's Mad Money, and all the latest from CNBC.